Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is another diamond paint with me while I continue working on Treasure Studios art Cherry Blossom by Lizzie Falcon, and you are actually going to see me finish this in this video. Yes. Now, if the true crime story does not go the entire length, which I don't think it is, what I will do is I will speed up the remainder of it so you can at least see me finish it, because technically I recorded this on Saturday, so I finished this on Saturday and I already have Maleficent on the drafting table, all of the diamonds out. The great thing about Treasure Studios art, the way they package their diamonds in those little Ziploc bags with the DMC label on them, how I organized it was I just had all of the bags laid out in numerical order on my little laptop table that I have next to me. So I just worked right from the bags. There was no technically, kitting up where you have to pour the diamonds into little containers and all of that. I just worked out of the bags. And because I don't save my diamonds at the end of a project, what was nice is when I finished this and was taking Cherry Blossom off of the drafting table, all I did was just I coughed. No. All I did was I just scooped up all those bags and threw them away. Yeah, that's how easy it is to kit up and kit down, per se, from a Treasure Studios art kit. And I have a couple on order that Lizzie Falcon brought out for Christmas, so those are coming. But yeah, I can't wait to work on Maleficent. And Maleficent is smaller than this. I almost pulled out Milkshake because I've been wanting to do that one. And I decided I knew I wanted to do Maleficent. And given that it's somewhat Halloween, there's no way in hell. I probably will not have Maleficent finished before the end of the year because I'm fairly slow on diamond paintings because I don't do it every single day. So yeah. And I've already ordered a frame. I ordered a frame from pictureframes.com yesterday. It was $100 for the frame. I know not everyone can afford that. And that frame was actually on sale. I looked for a cheap frame because I just got a plain black frame. I figure plain black is going to bring out the gorgeous reds and oranges and yellows that are in this piece. So I went pretty basic with it. But I can't wait to get it and frame it because I want to put it on that easel that's in my diamond painting area that has been blank for months since I ordered it from Wayfair. My internet is currently out. Yes, again. So last night, now mind you, let's go through the workday. The arbitration is challenging. It is challenging on so many levels because I am keeping track of so many details in addition to editing. So now I have another detail that I have to do. I have to keep up with the units that are edited because 2 of the team members yesterday did not let the proofreaders know that they had finished editing a section. And so our proofreader was waiting like an hour and shouldn't have had to wait. And I was like, Jesus Christ, now I have something else to do in addition to the myriad of duties that I do. And just when I think, oh, maybe I shouldn't be charging that administrative fee, something reminds me that it is perfectly warranted. Yes, I do not get done work on this arbitration until 7 or 7:15 when we have it. So we have it today, and then we don't have it again until Monday. So thank God. But after next Monday and Tuesday, then we have it 2 weeks in a row. That's going to be brutal. Like, ugh. Yeah, gonna be a good paycheck. Yeah, but oh my good God. I probably will be off the week of Thanksgiving though, only because we don't have the arbitration that week. And if we have this 2 weeks in a row, I'm guessing that she's probably going to be like, yeah, we're going to take off this week. And given also that we wouldn't be working that Thursday and Friday anyway, because nobody in the court reporting industry works on those 2 days. So we would only be working Monday, Tuesday. Like I said, I think I'm going to be off that week. And Bill is off that week from work, I found out. He thinks he is. I don't know what that means. Okay. So I decided to stitch up here last night. I've been working on my Carolyn Manning Designs Phoenix piece. Now, I had been working on it in my bedroom, laying in bed, watching TV on my Dubco stand. I decided, I'm like, nah, I stitched a little bit, a teeny bit. I had a lunch break yesterday, and I actually brought all my stuff up, and I was like, oh, I like sitting here stitching because I can have my pattern on the Lowery pattern stand. I held the hoop in my hand, which isn't a big deal. I'm really, really waiting anxiously for my Velky Pataki stand because I wish the Dubco stand, the thing turned around. And I know I've said this many times. I wish it turned around a complete 360 so you could get to the back of your work without having to lift it up so it's really, really high in the air. And the Velky Pataki does that. The clamp flips all the way around. So I am so looking forward to receiving that. And I hope I receive it in November before I go to the retreat. Now I have the hiccups. Oh my God. Because I will take that with me for sure. Because I will still be working on Phoenix. I'm really gonna go on that piece. I really love that piece. Okay. Oh, the internet. So I'm stitching, right? Now, I tucked Bill into bed at like 8:15. I came in my office. I had something to do for work. I did that. I was sitting in my stitching chair by 8:30. Okay? And I watched a movie. Oh my God. I watched this movie on Amazon Prime. Now, the movie is from 2016. I don't know how I didn't hear of this movie. It is called Ratter, Ratter, and it is on Amazon Prime, so you can watch it for free. This girl, this 23-year-old girl, moves to New York to go to graduate school. And in the beginning, you see like somebody tap into her TV, her phone, every kind of electronic device that she has. And they're stalking her. And you start to suspect like everybody in the movie. The movie was only like an hour and 15 minutes. Oh my God, it's so frightening. Like it makes me want to like start protecting my things more. And the last scene of the movie, I was like, I couldn't believe it. But it kind of leaves it on like, not a cliffhanger, but you don't really know what happened. And I hate that at the end of a movie. And you have to watch the credits because there is another scene at the very, very end, which I just let it roll because I was stitching. Luckily I did because I wouldn't have seen it. But it was worth watching. Like the tension started to build. Like you were anxious for this girl because she did not know until like later on that she was being stalked, and oh my God, it's unbelievable. Yeah, okay. So I'm stitching, and I stitched from about, I want to say 8:30, 8:45, and then I'm sitting here, and at 10:30, now my iPad Wi-Fi, I tap into our Wi-Fi network. The iPad pops up, because then I put on Seinfeld after the movie was over, and it says, not able to tap into your network. And I look at my modem, because I remember I'm in my office. I look at the modem and the fucking internet is out. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. The internet was out all day Sunday. And then when I woke up Monday, it was still out. And when I called, oh yeah, there's an outage. We're going to send somebody out. It was restored pretty quickly. So I'm like, okay, if I get up, because they're not open at 10:30 at night. So if I get up in the morning and it's out, I'm going to have to call at 8 o'clock when they open. My job today starts at 10. It is now like 8:40 a.m. here. So at like 8:10, because I got out of the shower and all that, 8:10 I call. And thank God they have the nicest people that actually work there for their customer service. So I call and she's like, okay, let me get your info. I'll send it to the dispatcher. I don't know of any outages in the area, but I explained to her that this was part of an outage yesterday. So she's like, I will call you back and let you know. So she called back like 10 minutes later and said, Yes, there was another outage. Now, we did have a very severe rainstorm in our area last night, and it gave me pause because right in the middle of the rainstorm is when it went out. So I'm like, that's probably why. So she called back and said, yes, there's an outage. We're sending techs out. So hopefully it will be restored before 10 o'clock when my goddamn job starts. Yeah. So I'm still reading that book, Such a Perfect Wife. It's pretty good. I'm liking it. Last night, remember, I had no internet. So I went downstairs and I read a little bit before I went to bed after I stitched. Okay. So today's story is Mystery of the Dead Screenwriter with No Hands. I don't have any idea what this is going to be, so let's just get right into it. For Hollywood screenwriters and script doctors, there is no better feeling than completing a project and getting the script made into a movie. For Gary DeVore, his screenplays and writing credits included many Hollywood action films that starred big names including Arnold Schwarzenegger. Really? Born in 1941, DeVore had been involved in Hollywood from an early age and worked hard to achieve his dream of becoming a movie screenwriter. He went on to marry Maria Cole, who was the former wife of Nat King Cole, and briefly married actress Claudia Christian in the late 1980s. In 1997, not content with writing well-known action films and thrillers, DeVore, and I think it's DeVore, it's spelled D-E-V-O-R-E, could be DeVore, I'm going to say DeVore. DeVore began working on something he thought would be his greatest project yet. It was a project he called The Big Steal, and it involved allegations against the U.S. government, drugs, robbery, and the invasion of Panama. DeVore had set up an office in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and had spent most of his time there working on the screenplay. He had complained of writer's block to his latest wife, Wendy DeVore, and stayed in Santa Fe until the script was finished, believing the Mexican change of scenery to be the perfect antidote to every writer's nightmare. On June 28, 1997, he informed Wendy that he had finally finished The Big Steal and was going to drive back to meet her at their beachfront house in California. Wendy phoned him at 1 a.m. to check where he was, and he claimed he was driving through the Mojave Desert and wouldn't be too long. But DeVore never made it home and vanished without a trace until a year later. Wow. Believing her husband to still be alive, Wendy hired a private investigator, but he couldn't find a trace of him. It wasn't until 1998, 1 year after the disappearance, when an amateur detective going off a hunch asked investigators to search the California Aqueduct, a series of man-made canals and waterways. Searchers hit gold when they discovered DeVore's vehicle in the water on one of the stretches of the aqueduct, which was unusual as the exact location of the discovery had been searched numerous times before. That's perplexing, right? Inside the car was the decomposing body of DeVore, but there was something off with the discovery. The site the vehicle was found showed no signs of damage, as if the car had been lowered or pushed into the water. The headlights had not been turned on for quite some time. DeVore's gun was missing, which was usually hidden in the glove compartment, and the screenplay he had worked on for so many months had also vanished. More curiously, his hands were missing. Can you imagine, what? On top of that, the location of the discovery meant he would have had to travel in the dark with no lights into oncoming traffic. Well, if he had no hands, he didn't fucking drive. Right? Right? Immediately, the case became popular among conspiracy theorists and online sleuths. Many people began to speculate that Panamanian drug gangs or Russian gangsters had been involved in the murder and cover-up, with some pointing the finger at the CIA. Despite the missing hands, a coroner's report stated that the cause of death was inconclusive and foul play could not be confirmed. When a British journalist and lecturer, Matthew Alford, heard of the case, he put together all the facts he could find, and the result was a web documentary. In it, it was alleged that the U.S. government covered up DeVore's murder. Curiously, when the website promoting the documentary was made public, it suffered an online virus attack and was removed from the servers. No trace of who sent the code was ever found, but it only added to the mystery. As the case was being researched, the details of DeVore's story became even more curious. It appeared that something in DeVore's screenplay of The Big Steal had reached the eyes and ears of someone who didn't want it to be released, ever. The call that Wendy had made to her husband the night of her disappearance was missing from her phone records. All phone records from a property are generally kept by telecom companies for data and cost purposes. This meant that either Wendy had been lying, or that one phone call had been erased from the records when other records remained untouched. After DeVore was reported missing, some men had turned up at DeVore's Californian home, claiming to be from the government. They had searched the property and removed any evidence of information about the new screenplay he had been working on. Interesting. When the vehicle was being hoisted out of the aqueduct, witnesses reported seeing an unmarked black helicopter hovering overhead, which would be enough to send X-Files fans through the roof. I never watched that show. It was suspected the helicopter, which was never identified, was taking photos of the retrieval or the people watching. When Alfred requested the case file from the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department, they claimed it was confidential. To circumnavigate providing him with the file, they said they may need to reopen the case, which meant it could never be released, as open cases are not available to the public. It seemed they had been giving him the runaround or were hiding something themselves. Wendy said that it was not unusual for her husband to work with the CIA, as he was an expert in Latin and Cyrillic writing. She also claimed that the writer's block DeVore was experiencing was less that and more to do with being disturbed over the research he was uncovering regarding the invasion of Panama. Though she couldn't provide solid details, she thought it had something to do with money laundering involving the U.S. government and Panamanian officials. But Alfred dug deeper and discovered something far more disturbing. In 1975, it was revealed in a leak that the CIA had allegedly infiltrated many aspects of news and entertainment as part of a program called Operation Mockingbird. It had begun during the Cold War and attempted to manipulate news media for propaganda purposes. At some point during the operation, it was decided to infiltrate Hollywood, specifically movies, and to use them as much as they could for their own propaganda purposes. Alfred realized that entertainment and politics were intricately linked and that DeVore was part of it. DeVore had been in the military, but over the years his ideology had changed and he had become skeptical of his own government and leaders. Where he used to live a Hollywood lifestyle, hanging out at parties with movie stars, he had withdrawn from that life and become suspicious of everything. The Big Steal was going to be a chance to make his mark on history, a promise to reveal the real reason for the war. It alleged that the Pentagon had planned a massive robbery of Panama and that the war was just a diversion. The third act of the screenplay was going to reveal the secrets in a big way, including that the robbery involved the retrieval of incriminating photographs of high-ranking senior American officials. Close friends believed DeVore was shut down by the government when they got wind of it and disposed of. Interestingly, Alfred later claimed that he too left details out of the documentary and the book it was based on. Did this mean the government had gotten to Alfred too? Were the U.S. government complicit in the execution and cover-up of Gary's murder? Like, what happened to this guy, right? It wouldn't have been the first time governments have killed to protect their secrets. It's also possible that DeVore became confused on the dark roads and drove straight off the edge into the aqueduct at a point where minimal damage was left. Perhaps he wasn't found in the initial investigation, as the Californian aqueduct is almost 450 miles in length, Jesus, and it would have been impossible to search it all. That his hands were never found was something of a mystery, but was it really all that weird? Having been in the water for a year, the decomposing remains would have disintegrated fast, and some of him may have floaten off or been eaten by animals. And the script? Maybe it just floated away, or maybe it didn't. We'll never know exactly what happened to Gary DeVore, but the screenplay he was working on had an impact that even he couldn't have predicted. Wherever the Big Steal is, or whatever it contained, is now the stuff of bizarre true crime legend. So that is a kind of a bizarre story. And there have been movies done about like conspiracies. I remember, I want to say it's called Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts. And then there was another one called The Manchurian Candidate that had Denzel Washington in it. Like there have been some movies made about possible things going on. I don't know. It's cuckoo crazy, right? Okay, so I wanted to read you. The Daily Stoic sent me another email yesterday. I have not received the normal morning email. Well, my internet's out, first of all. But one of their mantras is also remember that you will die. Meaning you need to live your life like this is your last day, right? I mean, that's easy to say, but can you really live because if it was your last day on earth, I wouldn't be working. You know what I mean? Like you need to take that with a grain of salt. But Seneca, one of the people that the Stoic newsletter talks about all the time, they said, let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. So the powerful and the wise have been finding ways to remind themselves of their mortality for centuries. Their art is filled with it. Their writing muses over it. Their desks were staged with totems to remind them of the urgency of life. They would keep reminders close to their body too, wearing memento mori rings, cufflinks, even tattoos. They never wanted to forget that we can go at any moment. The Stoic finds this thought invigorating and humbling. Remembering this fact is one of the most important and critical of Stoic exercises. So it is not surprising that one of Seneca's biographies is titled Dying Every Day. After all, it is Seneca who urged us to tell ourselves, you may not wake up tomorrow when going to bed, and you may not sleep again when waking up, as reminders of our mortality. Or as another Stoic, Epictetus, urged his students, keep death and exile before your eyes each day, along with everything that seems terrible. By doing so, you'll never have a base thought, nor will you have excessive desire. And Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. So that was a personal reminder to continue living a life of virtue now and not wait. So the French painter Philippe de Champagne expressed a similar sentiment in his painting Still Life with a Skull, which showed the three essentials of existence. The tulip, the flower, which represents life, the skull represents death, and the hourglass represents time. The original painting is part of a genre referred to as vanitas, a form of 17th century artwork featuring symbols of mortality, which encourage reflection on the meaning and fleetingness of life. This is only depressing if you miss the point. Used properly, memento mori is a tool to create priority and meaning, one that generations have used to create real perspective and urgency, to treat our time as a gift and not waste it on the trivial and vain. Death doesn't make life pointless, but rather purposeful. And fortunately, we don't have to nearly die to tap into this. A simple reminder can bring us closer to living the life we want. So the Daily Stoic has made a memento mori medallion that you can buy, and it's a coin that's designed with the intention of carrying it in your pocket, which is a literal and inescapable reminder that you could leave life right now. And it actually made me think of my grandmother when I read that, because whatever, she would find coins on the ground and she thought they brought her luck. So whenever she found them, she would keep them all in her pocket. She literally took them out of her pocket every day, put them on her dresser, and then when she got dressed the next day, put them back in her pocket. So each coin was crafted by a mint in Minnesota, and here is what the memento mori really means. It says, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. So it doesn't matter who you are or how many, this is horrible what I'm going to read. It doesn't matter who you are or how many things you have left to be done. A car can hit you in an intersection and drive your teeth back into your skull. That's it. It could all be over today, tomorrow, someday, soon. So what that's meant to say is appreciate your life right now that you're living, because absolutely. I mean, look what happened with Bill's sister last Friday. You know, we wake up and you think it's going to be a normal day, and it wasn't. And it really, you know, everything trivial and stupid and petty went right out of my head when we thought that his sister was going to pass. By the way, she is doing a little better. So they absolutely think she's going to pull through, although she's going to have months of recovery because she's going to have to go to like a rehab center. But thank you all very much for your prayers and thoughts and things like that for her. So I am going to end this here, but I know that, yeah, so I'll be speeding up about 20 minutes of this video. So, yeah, I'm going to speed it up, put it to music. So I'm going to say my ending thing right here, and then you're going to see the rest of the diamond painting being completed. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys, and enjoy seeing the rest of Cherry Blossom being completed. Yay!